G'day everyone, it is Matt Raad here from the eBusiness Institute, where we teach beginners how to build and buy websites. Now, today's special guest is a student of ours, and I'm really excited to have Andy on because I've just been doing a coaching call with Andy, and he and I, what I want to do is share with you Andy's inspirational story. I want you guys to, any of you listening who are maybe thinking of changing careers or getting into this space of building or buying websites, I think Andy's got a really interesting story of what he's been able to achieve with us over the last year, and also how he's been able to help people, including his wife. So Andy, thank you so much for coming on board.
You're welcome, Matt. Glad to be here. I think I should say that my wife's probably helping me out more.
Yeah, well, it is. And well, Andy, the other reason I've asked you to jump on here is you're one of our American students. So I do want to acknowledge and say congratulations. You stay up pretty late some nights to be on our webinars and things. And it is lovely having you on and in our community, working with all our Aussie students. And because I should mention to everyone Andy is on our high-level coaching program called The Champions, where we personally coach people through this process of transitioning out of their careers and earning online income full-time. Now, this is why I've asked Andy to come on, because he's got some really interesting insights in his personal journey. So Andy, obviously now you were just telling me, you're hitting some great income goals, but it wasn't, and you're happy to talk some numbers there too, aren't you? What you're charging for some of these websites. And it is fantastic. I didn't realize it was quite as big as some of the ones you said, but where did you start out? Because it was more your wife that came onto the course, wasn't it?
Yeah, I started out as a supportive husband, really. Yeah. I was coming off kind of a 12-year business that failed eventually. We tried to create something new and couldn't pull it off. And then I was kind of a guy that I'm more of a guy that creates his own job rather than goes to get one. So I was starting off something new where actually it had a not as good of a plan as you guys have in terms of a directory for local businesses. But I was using that. I was going to build one using a third party. Of course, this was before we joined the program. And I was going to use it as a way to prospect for a different business. And then Nora had joined the Champions and I was supporting her. And I figured that maybe what I was doing could generate leads for websites. And I would attend all the webinars, and I was really excited for her. I wanted to know a little bit. And then I was lucky enough, and I don't know if you remember this, is you and I had our first, kind of our first mentoring call. And I said right off the bat, I was like, I'm not your traditional guy. I'm kind of here to support my wife. And I told you a little bit about my background, and you're like, well, I understand why Liz kind of picked you guys to be in here. And one of the first things that you said, Matt, almost straight away, almost right off the bat, is you go, I'm going to change your life. And, so I'm a type of guy, I like to hear that. Like, the one thing I am is teachable, and I can, I respect what you guys are doing. I can see the results. I love participating in the program. And you did change our life. And I want to say thank you for that, because what happened was you called me out. You said, you're chasing your tail, doing all these other things. If you just follow the program that we're doing, you and Nora can achieve the goals that you've set. These are achievable. And you said, hey, did you build a website yet? I'm like, no. Why not? Right. I mean, so then I did. And you gave me some recognition for that too. And I appreciate that, as I spent a couple days really trying to build a website. And so we just started the ball rolling that way. And it was, again, because you kind of kicked me in the butt. And like I say, when the student's ready, the teacher will appear. And I believe that's what happened.
Yeah. And I'm so glad we're able to actually capture this moment in time, Andy, because I think both you and I were surprised, because like you said, your wife, Nora, came on the program. It was more Liz had interviewed Nora about coming onto the program. And then you and I did that call, and I could see greatness in you, Andy, and I just had to call you on it, because let's paint the picture, because Andy, just saying that there's probably a lot of listeners in very similar situation to you guys. The roles might be slightly reversed, but Nora is, as you just mentioned, you've come out of a 12-year business where to use your words, it was a challenge. Like, well, I'm not using your full-on words, but it failed. So as for those of us who've been in that position, that messes with your mindset as well. So there's that going on, and you had to, and hats off to you. You are a go-getter, and that's what I recognized on that call straight away. But you guys' situation, Nora's she's in a full-time role, isn't she? What does she do for a living?
Yeah, so she works at a local hospital here near our home in the States. We're in the state of Wisconsin. She works basically in human resources.
Yeah. So yeah, long hours, all that sort of stuff. So she came on to get retrained in digital skills, I'm presuming.
Yes.
Yeah. And then you've turned up on all the webinars and thought, this is good. I'll do a call with Matt. Matt's called you on it and said you have way more skills and talents than you realize. And you've got the drive. And now you're getting out there. Now, here's where it gets interesting, everyone. You got to hear what Andy's up to now, because you are putting this into application. And you and I have just done a really cool coaching call, and you were giving me a bit of an update. Fast forward to now, where like some of what you're doing with the strategy and what you've learned.
So we're following along the cash flow strategy that you put out for the local businesses and selling websites to them. I'm more intrigued, you got to do what you got to do. I want to build websites and learn how to do it. I'm really intrigued, and I can't wait to keep learning about the long-term stuff, but that's in the future. So right now our goal is to get Nora out of her full-time job and working along with us. And I kind of have a head start because I've been going to BNI and networking for almost 15 years. Like I've been doing it forever. I know the value of BNI, I know the value of networking. And so I had kind of some place to start already. And so when I reached out to what, are the people we know, the warm contacts and people I knew, a lot of them I could tell, especially if they were friends of mine, like, hey, your website's not that good. Let's talk about it. You can't do that with everybody, but you can do it with your buddies, right? Yeah.
And out of that, while you're learning this process, learning these new digital skills, you've been able to earn money off building websites for them, haven't you?
I did, but it didn't start out quite like I thought. Actually what I did was I started just building sites for people I thought that were going to need them. And I thought, because if they said, how many have you built? And I said 0, right? I mean, it just was easier to show a product first. And then I had a couple of handshake deals that just they didn't really work out. Either they pushed me way off or just didn't, that's how business goes, right? It just doesn't always work out as planned. And so what I did is I found competitors, if you will, or other people in those industries that might have needed a website. And then I approached them in a cold manner and offered a sweet deal. I said, I already have a website, before I delete it, I'm going to give you the chance at buying it for a sweet deal.
Cool. And it is why you're learning.
Yeah, I was going to say that happened on Monday. And so it was, in my opinion, it's a $5,000 or $6,000 website. Of course, I built it. It's worth that. But I sold it for $1,500 with a year-long contract, SEO contract attached. So
that's brilliant. That's your first website build, getting out there. And that's using a skill that you didn't think you had or knew existed within you, but you've married it up with your, because you know people. But even when you think about it, Andy, here's what's inspirational to anyone in our community. It wasn't even that you sold the websites to your friends, people. You still sold it to competitors and stuff. And that's super cool. And mention that you have to, come on, Andy, we've got to brag about, I just asked you where you're up to. You've got to tell the inspirational story, the one that you've just received final payments for. How much did you make on that one?
So I had a website that we started building a couple months ago, and it was finished about a month ago, but it was for another friend of ours who he's in a seasonal business, and he's got a successful business, but he's sort of and he wouldn't mind if I said this, he's sort of a dinosaur in terms of online. Yeah. And he's like, well, I should probably have a website, so we built him one, and he just said, hey, it's, I'm going to pay you, but you got to wait till the season starts up for us. And so that's what happened. And so we delivered we finalized everything actually yesterday. So it was a $3,000 payment, and with an option for $1,000 to kind of host email and some other things. And he said, yeah, I'm most likely going to do that. Just let me look it over again. So I like to be optimistic. I think we're providing enough value to justify the extra $1,000. I think he just might need a little more time to pay for it. So I'll just count that as 3,000. But then on Monday is when I sold the website I'd already built. That was the $1,500 one, which I feel like he got a great deal. So this week, in terms of websites, it was a $4,500 week. So I feel like that's great. We're excited about that.
Yeah, and you were just saying to me as well, you're on your way to hitting that first milestone, as you know, that we have in Champions, where you're earning that 10 grand a month. Do you want to mention the number that you're up to already? So and also this is for our community members. You guys got to hear this. What's the number you're up to already this month?
So we're up to 6,500 in paid websites, and then we have 5,000. That's 5,000 essentially billed. That's this month. And out of that 5,000, I think 3 of it will probably be next month, but 2 of it likely this month. So we're probably about 8,500. I think is what it seems pretty realistic. But what's actually in the bank is 6,500.
Yeah. So this is awesome though, Andy. So you're pretty much hitting $8,500 in the month, but you've actually banked, at least you've banked 6.5 grand. So you're very close to that first big milestone. Now, and you got to think back a year ago where you're at, coming out of that 12-year business, you've completely rebuilt your life, mate. Like, this is awesome. You're well and truly on the path. And obviously you have the skills. Like I said, you've got the greatness within you, and you are a legend. I do want to mention to everyone, Andy, once he fired up with this, I think it must have been after that call that you and I did.
Right after that call. Like
Andy, here's what it takes. Andy's never missed a webinar ever. Not only that, Andy, because you're on a different time zone, you're in a different side of the world. We run this thing where it's, our SEO lunches with Matt on a Friday afternoon. It's just an informal, I sit and go through a bunch of websites and do SEO stuff. You're on every single one, aren't you?
Yeah, both my wife and I we make it a point to be on them.
And all of a sudden now, to hear that you've actually not just learned how to build these sites, but to actually also start banking money, like in the bank, nearly hitting that first big goal, that's super impressive. When you think about it, that's in a pretty short amount of time to achieve that. And would you say your curve's gone like this? So at first you had to learn, and now in terms of the money side?
Yeah, I think, absolutely. I think it took just a little bit I wanted to get reps. I wanted to get something built, and I wanted to be able to at least make them think that I know what I'm talking about. Right. I mean, but we do, we study, we practice, and I feel like if we build it, they will come. And that's starting to happen, that's starting to happen. But, I've been in business a long time, and I know business development, I can't stop and just build a website and then start over in terms of prospecting again. You got to do them both. So I just want to make sure I'm not doing a roller coaster of a lot of, a lot of websites, none, a lot of, you got to just keep it going. And networking groups help you keep prospecting.
Well, one thing, Andy, that I want to bring up here, because a lot of people say this, and as you know, and you're in this boat as well, there's this big mindset issue around, hey, I'm a total beginner. How the hell do I get out there and charge for my first website build? And you've all just heard, Andy had no website whatsoever. But I think, Andy, hats off to you. One of the things you've done is, and following a couple of calls, like I said, I called you and I said, dude, you got to build a website. And you did. And then you just practiced, you studied, and I want to point out to everyone, Andy builds really good websites. Okay. So, for a beginner, you've inspired a lot of our community members, because we use your websites as examples in our private coaching, don't we? And on a Friday lunch, I think I've featured a couple of your sites as well, and everyone loves them, and we give you feedback and we help you tweak it. So in the background, there's a whole community of us helping Andy on his first website that he's built for. So it's not like he's going in as a total beginner, helping these people. And also you've done something that I love, Andy, as well, is it's a no-brainer for your clients to come on board with you, because you're not charging them a massive big price yet or anything like that. And you're building them these beautiful sites that are ranking already, like, they're working. So it's awesome. I think it's an awesome inspirational lesson for everyone to realize that you can start with absolutely no website portfolio behind you.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I did. It was 2 weeks ago. I had lunch, just reached out to a buddy of mine, just been friends for a long time. And we usually have lunch once a quarter. And this time we met up, he's like, hey, what are you doing now? Are you still doing this or that? And I'm like, I'm all in on these websites.
Cool.
I looked at yours. He's like, and I said, I can help you out. And he's like, it sounds funny we're talking about websites, because 10 years ago when we were in business together, we couldn't barely turn on the computer, right? And so
yeah,
I left that lunch with a handshake deal with a good friend of mine for a $4,000 website build and a $2,000 check. Plus he bought lunch, so it was great.
All right. Wow. So you think where you were a year ago. And then Andy, so the next thing too that we should point out is, whilst you're building these websites for local businesses to get your cash flow so you can just get going again there and get Nora out of her job, you guys are doing the portfolio strategy. And let's come back to what you said at the beginning of this interview, because we teach a directory strategy, which you didn't realize at the time when you came on, but I know you're super excited by that as well. And so the two of you are also building these more passive websites in the background.
Yeah, and my accountability email, I had mentioned the website strategy, and like I say, I sort of
the directory strategy. You mean?
The directory strategy. But I want to become an expert at that. I see huge value in it. With the goal of passive income, and I understand that that's I think in your terms you like to say slow burn. And I get that. I'm okay with that. I think I have a good start. I started to try to build one using a third party before we had met, and I had a couple hundred businesses in there already. And I've proved to myself, because I actually took email marketing classes, and I studied and read books, and I proved that I could get people to sign up for a free directory through a cold series of emails. Mm-hmm. So I thought, okay, I can just try to duplicate that and then, grow these directory sites. And I think if I can do it here locally, I could do it city after city using the same type of business plan.
This is our other strategy, building content sites that are more passive. So you heard Nora works long hours at the local hospital, but she's gotten in with Andy and built these sites. So we just ran a challenge where we got our students to build websites within 10 days. And you think about this, Andy, hats off to Nora. She's not doing this, as intensively as you are, because she's got to work this big job, and she's just come out. She's reskilled. She can now build a serious kick butt website within 10 days. That, as we all said, wow, we'd love to have that site in our portfolio. It's a really good niche, but it's a beautiful looking site as well. She's got to be so proud of herself. I wish she was here. I could say, well done.
Well, what's amazing too is we should back up just a bit, because she was the first one to sell a website and start building one.
Right.
And so she's built a beautiful, beautiful website for an international eyeglass company.
What?
And it took, it was a, warm, friends of friend type thing. But the reason why it's taking so long, it's on them. They were waiting for photos, etc. So she's good. She knows what she's doing. She creates beautiful sites. And so I think what you guys saw was her first attempt at a site like that.
Like a content
template, right? But I've got to keep up with her, because she's
All right.
I'm a dinosaur. She knows how to do all this stuff, right? Like I gotta.
Here we are. We all think you're the legend, and Nora's just quietly in the background. So this time next year, when we do this update interview, Andy, Nora's going to be on here telling us all how she's been able to quit a job to, make websites and earn money online. I'm presuming that's the goal for the two of you, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. And there's another goal with that, which is we wanted to be able to have to earn income with, from wherever, like if we were traveling or whatever, we, not stuck in an office or in a job site. And so obviously with what you guys are teaching us, we can do that. It's fun to have an interview and share our story, but there are times of doubt, right? Like there's a roller coaster ride that you go on. Yeah. And I remember that you guys said in the very beginning, it's, this is an earning or a learning year, not an earning year. And I get it. My wife and I, we both understand the investment in ourselves. So although there's times of perhaps some doubt or, maybe in terms of our own goals, that we're not accomplishing them fast enough. But I just want to reiterate what you guys said in the very beginning, which is don't quit. I mean, every webinar, every boot camp, something, there's so much information, but there might be 2 or 3 things that really stick out that are game changing. And I think that the strategy of how we have these weekly webinars is great because we need you guys in our ears, right? Like we need that. We need the support. I love to hear the other champion stories. It just is. I'm grateful. I can't thank you. I'm just so grateful. Thank you.
Well, I want to say a big congratulations to you personally, because I've been coaching you mainly, but also to the two of you. And Andy, it's people like you that help inspire all our champions. All our champions listening know exactly what I'm talking about. And I really enjoyed being able to share your story here today, Andy. And what I'd love to do is, if you want to, I'm going to give you an opportunity to promote the best digital agency ever, in my opinion. What's your digital agency? Do you want to do a bit of a promo for it?
Yeah. So we named our digital agency Golden Gumball.
All right.
But our tagline is websites that work. So we're focused on a little bit of the websites first. But
yep.
Someday we can talk about how we came up with that name. But
and you obviously give a very personal attention to detail with these clients, and that's what I think you do so well. Like you just go in depth when you're building these sites, and it's really cool to see, Andy. It is so awesome watching what you do there.
If you don't mind, I could throw in really quick one last point, which is Caleb had talked about how he and his agency and how he builds websites, that he just outcares the competition. Yeah. And that really struck a chord with us and me in particular, so that every website that I build, I say to myself and I say to Nora, this is based on where I am in my journey of learning this. I'm not going to cut any corner. This will be the absolute best I can do with what I've got at the moment. And I like to try to be like Caleb, where I just try to outcare the competition.
That is super cool. Well, you certainly do that well, Andy, and you also help inspire a lot of us Aussies here. You should be proud of yourself for turning up and at the boot camps and making all the cool comments that you do, and also sharing openly your websites with our private community. We do want to say a big thank you for that. It's important, and also for sharing this journey, warts and all. Like, it's not always a walk in the park, but we're really excited to see what you guys are up to, and I can't wait to do an update interview with you in about a year's time, see when Nora's doing this full time as well. But a big thanks, Andy, for coming on today. And guys, if you're really interested in learning how you can start to transition out of your job, or even quit your 9-to-5 and earn money online through building or buying websites, make sure you check out our free masterclass where we go through that strategy, and consider joining our digital investor program. Awesome. We'll see you on the next interview.
Thank you.